years Remembering and Healing has been doing this, and it came from one woman's idea. I'd like to pay tribute to Sabina for having this concept, and it's grown, and every year it has a different meaning. And of course this year, because of what's happening in Ukraine and also what's happening in Lismore, it's especially relevant. So thank you, Sabina and her wonderful team. And I'm your MC this evening, as I think I have been for quite a few years now. So put in your complaints about saying you want something different or a change at some stage later. So welcome very much to faith and community leaders and people of goodwill from Lismore and beyond to this service tonight. I'd like to welcome you all to St Andrews, but I know that the Reverend Christian Ford will be doing a formal welcome in a little while.
Not conflict, violence and war. In many verses of Holy Quran, God has allowed to fight only for defense. Therefore, war in Islam is a secondary principle, not a primary one. Islam is a religion of universalism, tolerance and peace and reconciliation. Islam emphasizes on peace in communication with all people in a society and encourages its adherents to avoid war and violence. Islam teaches that every life is sacred and that one has a duty to uphold truth and justice. As Allah says in chapter 5 of the Holy Quran, whoever takes a life, unless as a punishment for murder or mischief in the land, it will be as if they killed all of humanity. And whoever saves a life, it will be as if they saved all of humanity.
Dungarimbaland, the heart of which will rival people, and the middle and the heart of Bunjalung Nation, and we can see all the hearts coming up again, and we are the heart of our universe, the one that really is there for everyone. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and remember, a lot of people don't know how to receive. It took me a long time in my journey's life to learn to receive, and the blessings that I've got out of all this of learning to receive is countless. So I'd like to say thanks to my elders, past, present and emerging, and that their wisdom and knowledge can come through and be, when it's told, that people will hear the stories, because they didn't have big disasters like this or wars. They had more ways of settling things. So we can always learn, we're never too old. So God bless you all. And when you walk lightly. Thank you.
Welcome to St Andrews. It's a great joy that we can make St Andrews available for people, for groups, and for anyone who wants a quiet space. One of the things we've done in the last 2 years is try and have as much as we can. COVID kind of hurt it a little bit, but as much as we can, have the church open during the daytime, which we haven't been able to do for many years, just as a quiet space in the CBD for people to come and sit and pray in whatever fashion they wish to. Just to be a quiet oasis in the middle of the city. And so tonight, I see that as simply an extension of what we've been trying to do. Keep the building open and available for people to come together, to commit themselves to good things like peace and prayer and togetherness.
But the only thing that I can really say is that I still think that peace and love are probably the only things that are terribly important, and that all our visions of the dreadful things that are happening, and my own faults and those sorts of things. But in the face of it, really peace and love are the only things. And I thought the Pope was wonderful. A couple of weeks ago, he was only reported once as saying this, and he said, the problem is war, for heaven's sake. I mean, people do this silly stuff and fight. Oh, we have a defence minister who says, we're not only giving them buses, we're giving them guns. Oh, great. Peace and love is the only thing that's really worth thinking about, folks. And that's That's from a silly old hippie who can barely remember where he put his watch.
Before the Israeli Independence Day, Yom Ha'atzmaut, and we were talking about Yom Ha'atzmaut, what that means for them, and they were thinking, oh, what does that mean for the Arab Israelis that are at the high school that were, not going to be really probably celebrating the Jewish Independence Day, and it was such an interesting awakening to see these kids think about, oh, what does Independence Day mean for the Arab Israelis, the Palestinians, and for them it's the Nakba, of course, the catastrophe day. So I think in hearing what we heard before about thinking about the other, that was a big awakening to think, what does this day mean for the other? And here in Australia, of course, Australia Day, thinking about what that means for the Aboriginal people that are here. So I wanted to share that story, and I will also say a prayer. I'll sing a prayer because this is one of the prayers that we say on the Shabbat service every Friday night. So if you have been to synagogue and you know this, feel free to sing along. It's Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, v'hakol Yisrael, v'imru, v'imru, amen. And that is, they who make peace in their high places, may they bring peace upon us and upon all of Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Remember this, that there'll be the generations after us and those to come after them. Many years ago, in the 5th century, a military general and a philosopher named Sun Tzu wrote about the art of war. It has influenced many leaders and people around the world, ordinary people throughout history and to this present day. It is ironic that from a book entitled The Art of War that these beautiful words were written. Sun Tzu wrote these words, and I think it sums up best what uniting in differences for peace is. He talks about the 5 musical notes of the pentatonic scale and the 5 colors of the primary colors in ancient Chinese culture. This is what he wrote. There are not more than 5 musical notes, yet the combinations of these 5 give rise to more melodies than can ever be heard. There are not more than 5 primary colors, and yet in combination, they produce the most wonderful hues that can ever be seen. There are not more than 5 cardinal tastes, yet the combinations of these yield more flavors than can ever be tasted. In 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev, the former president of the Soviet Union, upon receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for ending the Cold War, asked himself this question: what is peace? This was the answer that came to him. Peace is not unity in similarity, but unity in diversity, in the comparison and conciliation of differences. And ideally, peace means the absence of violence. I'm going to just say a little word here, even though the person said to me, I don't want to speak up here. I'm going to say this because tonight I've got my multicultural women's group, some of them are here. And in particular, I do want to thank Angela from Ukraine. She's here in her national costume, but she's also brought along her friend from Russia as well. And I think that really warms my heart. And that's what the symbol of tonight is. Thank you.
Hello. So as you've heard, my name's Shosh and my pronouns are they, them. I didn't actually know there was a theme tonight, but it turns out that what I wrote pretty well fits with the theme. So what I wrote is, to me, peace means not being scared. Fighting is not something that happens only on a battlefield. People have to fight to make it through each day. Fight to have the same rights that others are given freely. There is an everyday fight that so many of us were not given a choice to opt out of. Peace is the ability to be who you are without fear of harassment, discrimination, or violence. Peace is safety and equality. Peace is harder than war. It is easy to divide and isolate people, to see those who are even slightly different as the enemy. But it takes real strength and courage to learn about and embrace differences, and to accept people. And remember that we are all one human race, not despite our differences, but because of them. Thank you.
Come forward. Mickey, Margaret and Sabina, who are going to help with the lighting of the candles. We're also going to hear some beautiful music, I think, during the lighting of the candles from our musicians Laura and Deirdre. And we will just have this moment. Please come up through the centre, and as you go back to your seats, perhaps around the outside, however it works, that you can maintain some kind of social distancing. So let's this time be a time of reflection and a time of sending a small light from a candle that's lit from other candles, and sharing that light and love and spreading it in our hearts and in this church and figuratively to the world beyond. Thank you. Please form a line here. Come up at your time if you would wish to light a candle. And Angela, I think it's very fitting that you are the first person to light a candle tonight. Angela in her beautiful Ukraine traditional clothing.
Oh, sorry. That's all right. I caught you. You might have to stand somewhere.